So Kim and I love gold. I mean, we have tons of gold, physical gold. I don't hold paper. We don't hold paper gold. We don't hold ETFs, and we don't own mining shares except for a few companies that we did start. So we're doing very well in gold. The concern I want to talk to you about right now is, like I said, Jim Brickers is a friend of mine, and I've been studying this FedCoin concept. And I don't know if one of the reasons gold is so important is simply because gold and silver are money. You know, they've been there. We call it God's money, because I've been all over the world looking for gold and silver, trudged up and down mountainsides and seen sites that were built thousands of years ago by the Incas or the Chinese. And in 71, when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, what else happened is our schools took the subject of gold out of study. I think it's so interesting, E.B. And then you work for a friend of mine. His name is Doug Casey. He and I were just in Cancun together about 3 weeks ago. And we're the old guys, been, singing on the hymnal of gold for all these years. And then now we have crypto or FedCoin. So what is your prognosis on this whole industry going from what I call God's money to people's money or crypto money, which was Bitcoin, and then now the Fed is realizing that Bitcoin was kicking their butt, and they better get into FedCoin or whatever we call it right now.
Digital currency.
Digital. Yeah. What do you see happening?
Well, I mean, it's a financial prison. Chapter 17 of my book, I have a chapter on FedCoin. It's a term that I first came up with in 2016 when people didn't even know what Bitcoin was, and we were talking about FedCoin, which shows that we're a little out of touch. We realize people need to stair step into these ideas, but FedCoin has been in the works for a long time. If you think about it, the United States uses the dollar as a weapon around the world. Okay, you hear this all the time. Russia is bad. We're going to use sanctions against people there. Iran is bad. We're going to use sanctions. What are these sanctions? These sanctions will block you out of using any sort of modern day currency in the financial system. And of course, Bitcoin has been a workaround for some people. And if you are a technocrat that likes to run around the world and smack people, when they don't obey your orders or they conflict with what you want to do, you don't want things that allow people to get around that. So it's totally logical that the currency would evolve. Now, what does FedCoin do? FedCoin is a digital currency idea that would replace the dollar. Now, it wouldn't replace $1 bills or something, because you still have to have something to buy a soda with or whatever you consume. I mean, we're talking about moving regular amounts of money, buying things, and the average person would get used to having a digital wallet. That's now a term that you're comfortable with, right? Remember, 20 years ago, we talked about an e-dollar, and everybody said, this is terrible. We can't do this. But now everyone's comfortable with the digital wallet. I mean, even older generations are comfortable with the idea of having digital money.
I don't even use cash anymore because I'd rather have a credit card. So what's the difference between a credit card and FedCoin?
So the thing that FedCoin will do is it will give centralized control. That's what people need to see, is that there's centralized control. So every single FedCoin, just like every Bitcoin, has a history attached to it. You've started to see now where there's a alleged ransomware attack, and they say the brilliant people at the DOJ and NSA have tracked down the recipient of this Bitcoin and pulled it back from their digital wallet. Well, wait a minute. I thought it was totally anonymous, like it was a Swiss bank account in my pocket, but it's not. Everything is tracked, so you can trace these Bitcoin transactions back to the original user,
so and then you can digital wallet. They'll be able to trace every move you make, everything you spend, where you are.
That's right. So, and you've probably been stuck on a plane or something and played liar's poker with $1, right? So you look at $1 and there's all these serial numbers, and it's a game where you can guess the serial numbers on the dollar. Well, every dollar is a serial number. Every FedCoin will be recorded and enshrouded on this blockchain. And people say, well, blockchain, I've heard of that. That's good. You can make money off that. Do you see how the narrative now supports people going along with this FedCoin? But what happens is we say, Robert, you have been making a lot of statements that we don't agree with. And you've been encouraging people not to trust their elected leaders. And Robert, a lot of things are bothering us. So we're going to restrict your your FedCoin wallet and allow you to only spend on basic necessities. This is absolutely possible on a blockchain. And then it eliminates tax evasion. So there's no way you can evade taxes because every FedCoin is recorded on this blockchain and every transaction tracked. So as you can see, if you are a control-minded person, you would think this is great.
What's the impact on gold and silver if this FedCoin comes out? Is it more valuable, less valuable?
Well, I think the Chinese know the answer to that as we were talking. I mean, once you figure this out, it's too late. That's what people need to see about gold and silver. Yeah.
If the Chinese have figured it out, we're finished.
Yeah. I mean, there's a great book about that called The Grand Chessboard, which lays out the policy in the 90s for, post-Soviet kind of world tension. I mean, there's always an enemy, right? So the Chinese will be probably our chosen enemy of the next decade. And that's, we know how that'll go. Okay. But the Chinese know something. I mean, it's an old society. They realize the value of gold. Now, once you have a FedCoin wallet, and as Robert said, once you're in, that type of centralized control, then you'll say, wait a second. I mean, I need something that's outside of that. Well, how do I get it? Well, now gold's illegal. It's too late. But see, everybody now can say, well, this sounds crazy. I mean, why would they do that? I mean, the government's here to help me. So basically, this is for thinking people. You just say, look, don't take it from me. Go back and look at the Soviet Union. I mean, there was an underground economy that thrived. It absolutely thrived. And if you didn't step out of bounds, you could kind of dance in and out of that. And then when things always change, I mean, centralized control never works. And the reason why it doesn't work is because what happens is that anybody that disagrees is an enemy, and you crush all the enemies. And once all the enemies are gone, then the state turns on itself. Well, so it never works.
As a U.S. Marine, the reason they want to take our guns away is they can have control if we're unarmed.
That's right.
But if we're armed, they'd be tough to come and take our gold or silver and our lives away. So that's why Biden is now pushing.
Robert, 100 years ago, the congressman in your town, he would have never gone along with some of these current efforts in Washington, because when he comes home, he would have had to face the people.
Yep.
But nowadays he's got bodyguards. So anybody that challenges him, you say, well, these people are subversives. They need to be shut down, and their FedCoin wallet needs to be turned off so they can't buy any, pipes or Molotov cocktails or anything, right?